What is going on, Raider Soda Dragon here? Welcome, and I hope you guys are doing well. So I've done some testing with Gaius in Faction Wars 21, and the results are kind of interesting. So like I said in my last video testing Gaius in PvE, do you guys want the good news first or the bad news? This time I'm going to start with the good news. So Gaius can contribute damage-wise not only in the enemy waves, but against the boss as well. So as you guys can see, yes, it's definitely possible to beat Faction Wars 21 with Gaius, and notice Gaius has the most damage here. That's pretty impressive considering there are 2 Skull Crowns on this team, and all those Skull Crowns do are AoEs. So they're racking up big damage in those enemy waves and against the boss, against those adds, but still Gaius tops them out as far as damage. All right guys, on to the bad news. So let's see if you can see it on this screenshot. So let me answer 2 questions for you. No, there are no Faction Wars bosses that cast bombs. And no, I did not cast bombs on this boss right before he used Mirror Universe. So how did I get these bombs on my team then? Well, it's because of Gaius' passive here, Mad Bomber. So whenever Gaius gets hit, he has a chance, 30% chance, to place a bomb on the attacker. Now the way Mirror Universe works is it doesn't just flip the buffs and debuffs for your team and the enemy team, it actually hits you guys. So it's an attack that does damage. Well, that means it can proc this Mad Bomber. So if the boss is casting Mirror Universe and gets a bomb, the boss was going to flip that bomb on the rest of your team. And guys, there's really no way around this. I mean, you're not going to build your guys with low accuracy, right? Because you're using them for his bombs. So I don't see any real way around this. So is Gaius good in Faction Wars? Well, he can be really good, but he also can be really bad. Overall, I would say he's more of a benefit to your team than a liability, but that risk, because of the passive, is always there. Now, the way my Faction Wars 21 team works is with 2 Skull Crowns in stun sets, so they're really taking care of the CC. So with this A2 here, we're not really taking advantage of its CC capability, that is the sleep, because we're always hitting enemies and always waking them up. So really, we're using Gaius in my comp for his bomb damage. But the cool thing is that we cast this A2 and we place 4 bombs, on anybody, and then we cast this A3 here and instantly explode those bombs. It's pretty much a one-shot. And against the boss as well, the bomb damage is reasonable. So currently I have my Gaius in 2 perception sets and a speed set, but I think a stun set would work really well on him, and also a toxic set that would really help with his DPS against the boss. So guys, let's take a quick look at the final boss for Faction Wars Stage 21 of the Knights Revenant faction, and he's called the Mirrorer. So as far as the boss is A1 here, Fickle Courage, it's an AoE that has a chance to fear. Now usually I just don't worry about this. If you really do want to resist this fear, you can. You're looking at like 250 plus resistance if you really want to reliably resist these fears, but they're not true fears, so they're not that bad. Honestly, they don't have a high chance to land, and even if they do, they're not true fears, so they won't put your skills on cooldown. So normally it's not really a big deal to just ignore these. Next up is the skill Mirror Universe. So not only is this an AoE, it does damage, but the boss is going to flip all the debuffs and buffs for your team and his team or himself. So whatever buffs you have, he's going to take them, and whatever debuffs he has, he's going to cast them on your whole team. So this is on a 3-turn cooldown. So how do you deal with Mirror Universe? Well, you're going to time your buffs and debuffs right after he casts this, not before, or else everything will be flipped, but right after. So if you cast your buffs and debuffs right after he casts Mirror Universe, then you have a few turns to let those buffs and debuffs expire so they won't be flipped on you. Next up, guys, is Meddle with Fate, and the boss is going to exchange HP with your highest HP champ, and this skill is on a 12-turn cooldown. So normally the boss does this when he gets low on HP, sometime under half, when you've beaten him down and he has less than half HP. So he's going to cast this and flip his HP with one of your champs, probably the highest HP champ on your team. So basically you can think of this 12-turn cooldown as a timer that you need to kill him within. It needs to be within 12 turns, or else he's going to do it again, flip that HP with the highest HP champ on your team infinitely if you don't take care of him within that 12-turn limit. So not only do you need sustain on your team, that is healing, revive, etc., but you need damage too. You need to kill him off within 12 turns. So to beat this boss, you need to always check on the cooldowns for Mirror Universe. Remember, you're always casting your skills right after Mirror Universe is used. So there's 3 turns on that cooldown left. And once he uses Meddle with Fate, then you're always looking at that cooldown timer too, that 12-turn cooldown timer, to make sure you kill him within that limit. So this particular team, it's a lot of RNG involved because the two Skull Crowns, all they do is AoEs and they have stun sets. So we're really relying on those stuns to proc. They have an 18% chance to proc with the set itself. Plus we have Versolf here, and he does have a provoke on his A1 and only has a 50% chance to proc, and it cannot be increased with books. So really we're hoping and praying that we get those stun procs and also those provoke procs as well. So this is a very RNG team. So how do you deal with those Valkyries in wave 2? Well, you just attack them and hope the stuns proc. That's it. When they have those counterattacks up and you have Skull Crown, all your Skull Crowns do are AoEs. You have no choice but to attack them and potentially take a lot of those counterattacks. And that's just the way it is. So you attack them and you hope for those stuns. And same thing with Versolf. You attack those Valkyries. Even though it's a bad affinity, you hope to get that provoke. And that's pretty much it. But same thing like the Martyrs on wave 1. If those Valkyries have 4 bombs on them and Gaius uses his A3 and explodes them all instantly, it's pretty much a guaranteed one shot. So Gaius does huge damage for those enemy waves. On to everyone's gear stats and masteries, starting with Versolf the Grim. So how have I geared him? I have him in a Relentless set and a Life set. On to his total stats. So I have his HP at 84,000, I have the attack at 1800, defense 2500, speed 177, crit rate 15%, crit damage 114%, resist 172, and accuracy 216. As far as his masteries, he does not have any. Next up, guys, we've got Gaius the Gleeful. So how is he geared? I have him in 2 perception sets and a speed set. On to his total stats. So I have his HP at 30,000, I have the attack at 4,900, defense 1,900, speed 207, crit rate 74%, crit damage 273%, resist 196, and accuracy 416. On to his masteries, and the most important ones are down the offense tree. So here I do have Life Drinker, so he's going to heal for 5% of damage dealt when he's under 50% HP. This one is good as well, kill streak. So every time he kills somebody, he's going to get a damage bonus, and this stacks across rounds. So he carries with him across rounds. Really good. And here we do have Helm Smasher, so he has a 50% chance to ignore 25% of the target's defense. Really good for big damage numbers. Next up, guys, got Rector Dress. So how have I geared her? I have her in a regeneration set and an immortal set. Onto her total stats. So I have her HP at 56,000. I have the attack at 1,800, defense 2,800, speed 211, crit rate 33%, crit damage 106%, resist 326, and accuracy 209. Onto her masteries. So down the defense tree here, I do have Unshakable, so she's getting plus 50 resist. And down the support tree here, I do have Spirit Haste, so when allies die, she's going to get a speed boost so she can revive them faster. And this stacks up to 24. And last up, guys, are the Skull Crowns. So how have I geared them? Now, since they're both geared similarly, I'm just going to show you one of them, but I have them in stun sets and speed sets. Onto her total stats. So I have her HP at 29,000. I have the attack at 4,300, defense 1,700, speed 201, crit rate 95%, crit damage 195%, resist 222, and accuracy 215. Onto her masteries. So here down the offense tree, I do have Life Drinker, so she's going to heal for 5% of damage dealt when she's under 50% health. And down here, I do have War Master, so she's getting bonus damage based off enemy max HP. And down the defense tree here, I do have Retribution, so when she takes a big hit over 25% of her max health, she has a 50% chance to counterattack with her A1, that big, heavy-hitting AoE A1, which can also stun because of that stun set. And we have deterrence here as well, so when an ally gets CC'd, she has a 20% chance to use that A1 to hopefully stun somebody again. Alright guys, that is it for my showcase of Gaius in Faction Wars 21. Can he help you out a lot? Yeah, he can, but unfortunately, he can also be a big detriment due to his passive. But I do still love this champ a lot and still think he is the best bomb champion we have right now. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.